Evening and welcome to the September 1st school committee meeting. We are here at the Middle High School Library, back in person. And I am going to start by taking attendance. Mr. Underhill?
Here.
Miss Briggs will be late. Mr. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Radis?
Here.
And I am here. We're also joined by Ms. Superintendent Mullaney and his new executive assistant, Ms. Bizzell. Is that how you say it, Amy?
Yes.
It is. Got it right. I want to say Donna, but I won't. So, persons wishing to speak during open session must sign in before the meeting starts. Comments are not to exceed 3 minutes in time. Individuals may not name any students. All topics for discussion must be limited to those items within the school committee's scope of authority, and all comments must be directed to the chair. The committee may not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Okay, we can get started with our action items. I will take a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 23rd and July 21st.
All right. So, just want to make sure. All right. Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the committee approve the meeting minutes from July 21st, 2026, as written.
I was not in attendance at the July 21st.
Jamie? Okay, so why
I
don't,
can second that.
Actually, point of order, we do not have a quorum because Ms. Briggs is not present.
so we
for
can
that
come back
meeting.
to that. And as a matter of fact, do we just want to hold off on action items so that we don't keep everybody here as we go
That
through
might
it?
be nice the night
Do we
before
just
school.
wanna-
starts
Yeah,
for the
why don't we
kids.
just head on down to time and learning, if that works for everyone?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think what I can do is I can introduce a couple of new staff, and then we can have the principals do their handbooks, and then we can do the consideration to approve the 1.0 para and the policies regarding restraint and so forth, and have Neely handle that. Okay, so first I'll start with introductions. We're happy to have two new members of the team join us. We have Amy Bizzell, who is the new school committee executive assistant and the executive assistant to the superintendent. And Amy's jumped right in, and she's already had some good opportunities to utilize her skills. And so things have been going very well there. So welcome officially,
Welcome, Amy.
Thank you.
And then we have a new athletic director whom you met online back in July, Mike Rector. And so we're very glad to have Mike on board. And we also have new middle school principal, Ron Taylor, who
Hi, Ron.
you met back in June, was it? June, July, one of those past months. So welcome to all.
Welcome.
And now I think maybe if the principals want to come up, we'll just go over the approval of the handbooks. Sure, yeah, we got 3 seats there. And I did share with the committee the proposed changes for each school, and I shared those individually. If members had questions, they could email me individually, and thank you to those members who did, and I was able to communicate with the principals, and they addressed some of those questions. So I don't know if you had any questions regarding the proposals, or if you just wanted a kind of a quick summary from the principals, however you would like to do it.
Do you want to do a quick summary and then?
Yeah, a quick
any
summary or any
questions?
changes in the handbooks that may have come out that are pertinent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can go first. So first of all, welcome back. It's great to see you all again. We're really looking forward to our school year. And as you know, as a part of that process is, just updating our handbooks and making sure that those are approved. So we appreciate you, listening to us and reading over our work that we sent you earlier. I'll go first. So at the high school level, really we just had kind of updates to school committee members as well as some staff changes in there, but we also had added in the competency determined language that you approved previously, so that was added in. And then the bigger things that we had was the electronic communication devices phone policy, so that went really well. We had a great rollout last year, so we look forward to enhancing that this year. One thing that we found that would be helpful is collaboratively working together with parents. So last year when, students were found in violation of that policy, typically we're working mainly through the students, but, if a student has a second or a third violation, we want to be making sure that we're, giving communication to the families and parents as well, so we can work collaboratively on that. So like the second offense, we'll have, an email sent home just so that, families are aware, hey, this is the second time where we're having kind of a violation of that. They might need some extra additional support. And if there's a third violation, which very rarely we got to last year with any of our students, but if there is, just asking, the family to come in and have a meeting to support, and how can we best have a plan for that particular student to work on that. We also did just change, so we had if you look at that page 25 on our notes, we talked about replace 31 minutes with a half. So that being reason we run different school days, and sometimes the period is not always like a 31 minutes. So we just said half the period for that. So students missing that half of a period, that's where some of our attendance policy stuff kicks in. So that's why we changed that language there. For physical education, we noticed just a bit of a pattern last year where some students were getting dismissed around, specifically around physical education, their PE classes. So we worked with families that were noticing that, and because obviously we find that to be an important class around that. So we did have some students that were making up, classes into kind of that next term to make sure that they get their PE requirements, and that worked well. And we're just kind of, with that language in there. For the 15% of missing PE classes, there might be a conversation with that student and family just to have an understanding that we might need to kind of make some of those classes up in order to earn your PE credit that's required every year there too. Then we added in our head lice procedures, which, knock on wood, at the head lice, at the high school, we have, very much avoided, so the elementary, I'm not sure as much, if you get as much luck, but the high school we're feeling pretty confident on.
Pretty good luck.
So we threw that in there as well, so, that's just kind of a summary of our changes.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the high school handbook?
Nope.
And I have to say, I think it is appropriate that Pat Nash goes first because he is the longest-serving principal in Millis, entering year 3. So.
All right. Next one. Oh, do you retire?
Are we going in order of that? Because then I can jump in next.
Okay, well,
All right.
jump
I didn't know if you were going.
Yeah, this will be good modeling for Ron.
Sure, there we go. So thank you. Again, just like Pat said, I'm happy to be back and excited to have a great year with our kids. The majority of the beginning changes outlined in the memo are logistical things, adding an additional language based on the languages of the students that we have, updating my letter, simplifying our communication about no school or delayed openings. The only piece I added since we spoke is just quotation marks around no school and quotations around delayed openings, because when staff looked at it one last time today, someone said it's a little more clear when there's quotation marks so that it doesn't mesh together as one piece. Added the new district calendar, and then a couple of just grammatical things. In the snack area, we did ask that parents make an effort to send a water bottle that fully closes. Sometimes the Stanleys without some kind of a lid on the top, it's hard for facilities to clean up and things fall on the stairs because the kids are little, and only water. We started to see an increase last year with kids bringing coffee to school and refreshers to school on their way in, so we really want to stick with water. That's what the research shows is best for our brains, little learners, so we're going to focus on that. And then we also did have some families do DoorDash and other kinds of delivery things. So we added a piece about food needs to come from home or from home. If a parent brings something for their child, that's fine, but we can't accept delivery pieces because of not being able to account for where the food has come or who has come in contact with it. Then there's just a couple of other just language pieces that I changed. Within the school bus safety policy, I did also add a piece prior to me being in leadership and just part of the pieces with the transportation, working with the transportation company. It used to require 3 specific formal write-ups before any intervention could be implemented from any potential removal from the bus, which is a last resort. But I did add a piece about if there's one single incident due to the severity of the incident determined through a due process investigation that significantly impacts student safety on the bus, that the principal or designee does reserve the right to suspend or revoke a student's ability to ride on regular transportation. Because every once in a while, it's very rare, but every once in a while there's something that just warrants an immediate response if due process is followed. So that's a new piece. Then the nurse just added a couple of things about the 24-hour rule with vomiting, and then also adding another piece about EpiPens and inhalers that there are exceptions made for those for students. She added some things about immunizations and screenings. It was nice to start the year with our new nurse, so Grace was able to really take off over the summer and we worked on a lot of this last year. We also added the head lice procedures. Knock on wood, we've been good on that at CFB as well, for the most part. Not as lucky as you probably, but in kindergarten, we updated to indicate the actual curriculum that is used in kindergarten, took out the pieces that weren't. Added a piece about reminding under technology. Some of our students wanted to log into their home apps on their computer at school, and if we already have the app at school, we want to use the school app, and then changed the curriculum for music to match what we're doing in music. And the biggest piece was the homework. This was a discussion that started at PLCs, started with PLC leaders, and then eventually worked its way into school council. My school council all looked at areas around us, and really we just tried to match what the guidelines are with what's currently the practice. The old policy that was in there was very old, and not really keeping up with what the current research and things are saying about what homework should look like. It really should be to reinforce foundational skills and not cause additional stressors at the elementary level. We're trying to teach them to love school and love learning and learn how to read and do math and build their math fact fluency. So that was really the piece, was to match what the current practice is and to streamline it so that it wasn't so set on number of minutes, but more on the quality of what the assignment is. Then we did include all of the updates that happened last year through our memo, through the school discipline and those pieces that came through the memo that was approved by you in April. Those are now embedded within the handbook, and the old stuff is taken out. And that is a very long summary for you. But we did change quite a few things, because last year when I stepped in, I hadn't worked with the council, so that work had been done prior to me starting. So this year we really did a lot more work on matching what we're currently doing in the school and making sure that language is clear and listening to feedback we've gotten from families as well as teachers. So happy to answer any questions.
No.
If I went too fast?
No?
No?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're on, Ron. Here we
All
go.
right. So I thought this was a very nice way for me to start my time in Millis, was to review the handbook. And so I had read it prior to being interviewed here, of course, so I wanted to be familiar with what was stated within the handbook. But I also had an opportunity this summer for this exercise to make sure that I had a thorough understanding of how the school works and what's important to people. So there were really mostly some things that Sky and Pat have said that I honed in on as well, such as adding my own name to the handbook. You know, there was some staffing changes, the MCAS schedule changed, so very minor things like that. There was a release of student directory information, which was confusing to me. I basically honed in on some areas that were confusing to me, and I felt like I needed to learn more about them, and then put it back into the handbook in a way where people could understand it. I figured if I couldn't understand it, maybe other people wouldn't be able to understand it as well. And so there were also some areas for people to sign and send back, but it didn't seem as though they were tied to anything. So I basically tried to go through and remove some areas that were confusing and make it easy for parents. It's a long document. I don't think it needs to be confusing as well as long, because people would probably shut the document before continuing on. Let's see. So also PBIS is a part of the work that we do, positive-based information system, is that what it stands for? It's basically when you're working with students, we want to promote the positivity that we see in the classroom, in the building, that sort of thing. So rather than honing in on the things that students are doing wrong and then helping them grow, of course, we're also trying to catch students doing the right thing, so to speak. I noticed that it had been started, that section. Our PBIS work will, et cetera. It was left blank. So I talked to some of our people who are in charge of the PBIS committee, and there's 5 or 6 people on it that are doing tremendous work, and so I wanted to make sure that it was clear what that work was, and so they helped me rewrite that portion, and they shared that we're really working on our core values, and when they see students exhibiting those core values within the school, amongst their peers, with their teachers, et cetera, they're being praised for doing that sort of thing. Communication is going home rather than just staying between the teacher and the student, so the parents are aware as well. So anyway, all of that language is in here, and I just wanted to make sure that it was clear to people. Head lice made it in as well, so that was a consistent thread amongst us. And then, of course, the amendments that were accepted in the spring, I wanted to make sure they made their way into the document. So I found the old language around discipline and bullying, et cetera, pulled out the parts that were no longer appropriate and put in the parts that we had agreed upon to go in there. And they are lengthy, but really explain the process for doing what's right by students. I think that's pretty much it, other than one, the student code of conduct, the opening paragraph and closing paragraph were identical. So I removed one of them. And that summarizes our changes at the middle school.
Great.
Any questions from the school member?
Nope.
Okay, great. Thank you. Very
Thanks.
helpful.
And aside from the handbooks, I'd like to thank all the principals. They had their opening staff meetings today, and I was able to sit in on some of those, and I want to commend you all for doing such a great job getting the staff started this year.
Thank you.
I have
Really
a
well done.
observation. I wasn't fast enough when you asked your question.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
go
sure
ahead.
you were. But just that the court case against Meta was successful, right? Was it 49 states? So hopefully that gives like all schools like, wind beneath their wings when it comes to the cell phone battle with children. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good to hear that.
Yeah.
Not too much of a problem in Millis, but we have
Yeah.
that as a backup if we have to.
Yeah. And to your point, Jamie, we see a lot of the effects of kids being addicted to those platforms.
You're going to have some detoxing to handle in the first
Yeah,
week of school,
yeah,
too.
I mean, and that's right. That's the full policy. That's why we have them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Do you want to
So,
do a motion?
Yeah, you guys,
Okay,
if you
while
wanted
they're
to do that.
Sure. I'll take a motion to approve the school handbooks.
Do you want it by school or just in group?
Why don't we,
I think you can do it
Do it.
as presented.
Okay.
that works.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the school committee approve the handbooks as presented by the principals.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
So, okay, and then next, I think we can call Neely up. And there's a couple of items that Neely can speak to, the timeout, physical restraint, and seclusion policy, and the 1.0 para request. So, Neely, if you just want to
Sure.
handle one, however the committee wants to do it. You can talk about them both, and then the committee can entertain motions
Sounds good.
separately for each one.
Sure. Do you want me to start with the student?
Sure.
All right, so last spring came to our attention that we were going to be getting a new student. The student joined us and registered at CFB probably in June. And at that time, upon receiving the student's IEP, we saw that the student had needs beyond, I think, a lot of what we have at this time. A lot of that is staffing, equipment, some adaptive sort of things. And I'm trying to stay vague
Yes.
because I don't want to break the anonymity of anything. But, you know, what we know is that we can educate the student. We've had multiple meetings with mom and dad who are wonderful people, supportive people, and definitely want to collaborate with us. Sky and I had the pleasure of working with this young man and seeing that he has many, many interests, and he's going to love CFB. Within that, he will require staffing, and we were able to find somebody who has educational experience, but on top of that, also has nursing experience. Not to say that the person would in any way act as a nurse for the student, because they would not. They would act as a paraprofessional, but it's always helpful because of some of the circumstances that the student faces. So what we would request is a full-time paraprofessional for this young man who will be entering kindergarten this year. And if you need any other details, I can.
Yeah, and the reason we'd be looking for the special education contingency fund, because this was a student who was coming to us from out of state. If it were a student from Massachusetts, the sending district would pay for those needs this year, and we'd be responsible next year. Since the student's from out of state and we didn't budget for it, we need to dip into that fund. And then next year's budget, we'll have to add those services and supports in our budget.
So just a question, because I think this is one of the first times we've actually accessed the Education Contingency Fund. If I remember correctly, it has to be voted on by the school committee and the select board.
select board.
So this has to go to the select board for approval as well.
Correct. And,
Okay.
and for some of the equipment, we don't have the prices yet, and things like that, so.
So once we have all that, it'll go to the select board? for
Right,
this
and,
approval.
right.
Okay.
So,
So you know, we're having a meeting in the coming days, and at that time, we're gonna get a lot of the details that we don't have right now. So, you know, what I can do is I can write something up that's gonna have all the details needed in terms of staffing, equipment, anything adaptive that the student requires.
But right now, you're just looking for approval of the 1.0 paraprofessional to utilize the special education contingency fund for that. Okay. All right. Take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the committee approve an additional 1.0 paraprofessional and to utilize town special education contingency fund for the funding of the position.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, the second item is about the physical restraint policy that we adopted on September 16th, 2025. At that time, we had briefly discussed the concept of an amendment to the policy. In spring of 2025, the Department of Education made the determination that they wanted to move forward and update the language around seclusion and timeout to match the U.S. Department of Education. So what we did in finding that out was we ensured that all of our staff, including paraprofessionals, RBTs, ABAs, teachers, administration, everybody, were basically trained last year. And we made sure that we got ahead of that. Then what we did was last year we put everything into practice. A lot of what the amendments were around were adding requirements for timeout rooms that were quote-unquote appropriate, which talk about size, lighting, ventilation, heating, cooling, and safety standards. Specified emergency circumstances when monitoring seclusion may be a last resort, meaning that is the absolute last thing that you want to do is restrain a student or have them in a separate environment. There were added safeguards around parental notification, weekly, monthly data review, and DESE reporting requirements. So what we did with that was we ensured that all of our data collection and forms were updated, and we have all of that available if need be. And then they had some simplified language in one of the laws, the specific section, to clarify emergency exception use. Meaning if a child has reached a point that they are a danger to themselves or others, that is the point that you could move forward with this type of restraint. So what Bob had done, at the time that we had talked about the physical restraint policy and adopted it, everything had been presented to our district attorney. And they provided me with an updated seclusion policy. Since then, Bob, with all of you, has been working on the MASC pieces of everything. And they have something that is updated and extremely thorough and goes hand in hand with what we currently have. So what Bob and I had talked about was basically having that be an amendment to our current physical restraint policy, and then when you guys get to reviewing that through the MASC policies, we can just adopt the entire thing. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. How are you? So the motion would be to, at this time, adopt, Bob, do you want to adopt the MASC policy as an amendment to the current physical restraint policy?
No, I think we could
Or do you
do
want
that
to-
and keep the other in, and then when we get to section J of the MASC, you know, if the subcommittee determines that the policy we did last September is redundant, we could remove it then. So this would just be the policy, which one?
JKAA?
Right,
Yep.
yes.
As presented?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Take a motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, sorry, Mr. Powers. I was looking at,
So,
spaced out for a
I
second.
don't ever make motions, so it's like, make a motion to approve district policy JKAA as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Ian.
thank you.
And thank you all for being here the
Yes,
night
thank
before the
you.
kids come. Please, feel free to get up, go home, get a good night's sleep.
Thank
You
you
got
so
a big
much.
day tomorrow.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Welcome.
first day.
If you want to hang out for the fun stuff, you can do that too.
Have a good first day, everyone. How are you?
It took me a second to feel like, oh, yeah, look how long this is. Look, I was like, yeah, let's switch this. All right, so now we can switch back to the action items. And now that we have Ms. Briggs here, we have a quorum to make a motion, approve the meeting minutes from June 23rd and July 21st.
Should we do them separately since we have separate Okay.
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill.
I move that the committee approve the meeting minutes from June 23rd, 2026 as written.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Motion carries.
have to abstain.
Yes. Mr. Underhill, the motion carried with one abstain. Mr. Underhill.
And then, oops, sorry, I have the wrong window open. Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill.
I move that the school committee approve the meeting minutes from the July 21st, 2026 meeting.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion carries. And
The two abstentions.
two abstentions. We have Mr. Radis and Mr. Powers, so they are approved with 3 members voting yes. Okay. Okay, now we're going to move on to the school district policies, ADF, ACL, DGA, and EEAG.
Okay, so, and ADF was something we talked about, I believe it was last March, when we had audit of our food services. One of the things we got nicked on was the age of our wellness policy was 10 years old, so we needed to update it. And so we did come up with a policy that we cross-reference with the MASC model policy, and the information we got from the DESE. So the policy that was included in the packet meets all the requirements, and our policy just does a little more in defining the membership of the School Wellness Advisory Committee.
Take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the committee approve district policy ADF as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
And I would like to add, there is school committee membership on this committee,
Yes.
council, so we'll be coming to a later meeting looking for a school committee rep.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. All right, next we have policy ACL.
Yeah, this is the very latest. This is a policy the governor signed the PROTECT Act into law earlier this month, and it basically deals with law enforcement, civil law enforcement, e.g. ICE, coming onto school campuses and attempting to talk to students, apprehend students, and all those things. So the PROTECT Act outlines policies that schools, or it mandates that schools have policies and procedures in the event of someone from civil law enforcement coming onto school property to execute a civil warrant rather than a criminal warrant, or a civil warrant that's not signed by a judge, a non-judicial warrant. So as part of the law, school districts had to come up with approve a policy by September 1st or the first day of school, whichever came first. We kind of hit the exact sweet spot because of some districts just got this notice last week, and they had already started school and hadn't been approved yet. But be that as it may, the procedures and policy, procedures and protocols directed by this law, our procedures and protocols we had already implemented through the guidance from the DESE and the Attorney General back in 2005. So we have that, and so this policy is the model policy from the MASC that they just came out with recently, and we adhere to the requirements of that policy.
Okay.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Does the PROTECT Act also protect students about on school grounds, even if a warrant is signed by a judge?
If it's I believe if it's a judicial warrant, that means it can be executed. It has to be signed by a judge.
In the school?
Yeah, if they come with but it also means that you contact the parents, you contact the district's attorney, and they're all part of it as well. But most of the ICE warrants have been civil. So, but again, it's a procedure we have, and our staff know about it, and our officers know about it. So, you know, it's something that we already have, but this law says you have to have it in your policy.
Is it, now knowing you, it's already linked here somewhere, is it somewhere here that we can read and find, or?
I think it might be in the packet.
It's in the policy folder, yeah. Got it, okay. I'm pretty sure it was, I just wanted to ask, thank you.
Yep.
And it all happened rather quickly, but we've been doing this for over a year, so it's not as, it's not as uncontrollable as it sounds. We have a policy, we've been following a policy, we're aware of it. One thing we have to do that we haven't done yet, once it's approved, it'll go on our website.
Okay.
Well, it happened in Milford, didn't it?
Oh, they had the situation with the kid, that was on a Saturday.
So, oh yeah, practice.
Yeah,
He was
yeah, the
going to
kid was going to
practice, not
volleyball
school.
practice, yeah.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Briggs?
I make a motion to approve district policy ACL as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. And now we have policy DGA.
Yeah, and this is a policy that would authorize the school committee to designate a single member to review and approve district payments placed on the warrant. Everyone on the committee would still get, I don't have them with me.
Is your microphone just...
Would get all these things, but would, instead of requiring 3 signatures, the committee could designate a sole signatory.
And previously, we also authorized it to be electronic, so it'll be one person who can do it
Yes.
Right.
electronically
Yes.
instead of 3 people physically.
It would streamline a lot of things. And
Can
would-
it be any one person, or does it have to, do we designate the person and it's only that person?
Yeah, we have to designate the person, but if something happened and that person couldn't do it, then the committee could designate another person to do it. And it would definitely, the electronic signature definitely streamlines the process because, you know, the way we do it now is we pile up all the bills and then wait for a meeting. And so like a meeting tonight, there's a ton of bills. So the electronic and the single signer would just streamline the process and save us a ton of paper. And again, the committee would still have access and be able to ask questions.
Okay. I mean, I've been signing for so long. I feel like that it just makes sense that I, do it.
Okay.
Even just being the chair, I feel like it's fine. Have been doing it anyway, especially during the summer and stuff like that, so. Unless someone else
I'm
wants
not
to
leaping
do
out of
it.
my chair for it, no. It's
We'd be honored.
Speak now. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill.
I move that the committee approve district policy DGA as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. And
And you can do another
Yeah,
one, right?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Briggs.
I make a motion to designate Ms. Canestrari as our single member responsible to review and approve all the warrants and sign them.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Oh, it says
yes.
roll call.
Roll call. Thank you. Any further discussion?
I
Okay.
think we can like revisit this each year so that
Mhm.
we can update it, yeah.
Right. All right. This is a roll call vote. So, Mr. Powers?
Aye.
Ms. Briggs?
Aye.
Mr. Radis?
Aye.
Mr. Underhill?
Aye.
And I am an aye, and so the motion carries. Excellent. Okay.
EEAG?
Yes.
Okay, this is a policy that regulates student transportation in private vehicles. Ideally, when we have extracurricular events and things like that, the ideal situation is they use school transportation, but the reality is sometimes that's not always available. And so this policy establishes procedures when private vehicle transportation is necessary. The owner of the vehicle must file evidence of insurance coverage in the amounts of minimum $1,000 to $300,000 or more, and then undergo a Corey check, and then any student that's not the driver's child, the parents of that student would have to sign a certification that they're aware that their child is being transported in a private vehicle.
Wait, I have like a couple of questions about this.
Sure, yeah.
So, does that include for like going to practice? So like, for example, my example is like, Naomi does the cross-country team and they sometimes practice at Oak Grove, and like parents shuttle the kids after school to Oak Grove.
Yeah, no,
So
it
do we
would,
need-
it would be a situation where there would normally be school transportation provided. So if it was a meet in Westwood, we would normally provide transportation.
Oh, okay, so not for like.
Right, not
Got
for
it.
that, yeah, because, we know sometimes kids drive each other to
Right,
practices
right,
and
right.
things. So
Okay.
this is those times when the school would normally provide transportation.
So now, since this requires evidence of insurance coverage and a Corey and acknowledgement form signed, are we proactively having coaches and offering it up to families to volunteer to do that?
Yeah,
So
Mike has left, but it happens most often in sports, but there are other
Right.
situations. But, that would be something that would run through the athletic department, okay, like this particular team, a lot of times they may not be able to transport. So ideally, we'll get like a list of names. And then,
But if it's your own kid, you don't have to do it?
right.
But if your own kid is driving other kids,
Yeah,
so that's like the core.
like
that was my question.
We want to avoid at all costs, if we can, kids driving kids to,
Agreed.
But, so this just gives us, because this happens, right, this
Oh,
happens.
yeah.
So this gives us a way to control or have some, type of regulation that, says we've vetted this person and we've approved it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this happened when my son was on the tennis team a little bit. I don't know if this is exactly applies, but I guess my question for you is, do you think if we, with this policy in place, would it be more restrictive or less restrictive? Like, are you looking to kind of okay what's currently happening, which would be just great, continue with what we need? Or is the idea here to make it a little more restrictive so that people are doing it slightly less? Or?
Well, I think it's more, if we have to do it, then we have some parameters to make sure that when we do it, there are certain conditions that are met. So,
And so it makes us a little bit more protected.
exactly.
And this applies to teachers as well.
It would apply to teachers.
for like
yeah.
clubs and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So meaning teachers could drive students, because then they just kind of would have the parent signature, so they can just do it.
Right. Now, sometimes we'll have like teachers, like if we have something at Gillette for a club or something, we'll have the teacher drive the van. That's not a private vehicle, that's a school vehicle, the teacher's driving and so on and so forth. We try and avoid teachers driving kids in their personal vehicles. Now, this being Millis, we have a lot of teachers who are parents as well, so, you know, we have that going on. But those parents, like, would say, we need to get this information, which, again, like you said, Jamie, it just offers us a little more protection.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Ruda?
I move that the committee approve district policy EEAG as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I do actually have one more question. How long does it last? So like if I have if I get signed off and do all this so that I could drive my kid and her friend to whatever the thing is in the fall, like, does that carry over to the winter sport and to the spring sport, or do I need to do that for every season?
I would think that it would be like yearly. So if
Okay.
you know, because if you did it in the fall, that should
Because the core is good for like 3 years.
Right,
so
right.
Does
And
that
so
get-
we'd, you know, they have to provide proof of their insurance. So like when their insurance ran out, we're gonna have to like monitor this because when their insurance is up, we're gonna have to ask them to,
So I think
you
you
know.
might need to just figure that out, like what the time frame is or whatever, so
Yeah,
that you know,
yeah.
like every fall, we need parents to do this, or.
right, yeah, and
I don't know.
ideally that would be the case, would get the list. But again, and this is not exclusive to Millis. There'd be some, you know, there might be some family that their kid does a sport in the winter, but not.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, ideally, they'd sign up in the fall, even though they're not gonna potentially utilize this till the winter, but,
Right.
yeah. But I think the insurance piece is the one that could expire.
Yeah.
Like, we know when the quarries expire. We'll have a copy of the insurance, so we'll have to keep track of when those expire.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, ideally, we'd never have to utilize this policy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But it just offers us some protection when
Yeah,
when
for
we
sure.
do
I
have to
understand
do
the point
this
of
as
it.
a
I'm
last
just thinking
resort. Yeah,
about
it
the
is somewhat.
logistics of
The new
like-
athletic director's got a lot of energy.
Oh, good.
We're gonna tap that. But again, and it's not exclusive to athletics either, but that's the
Sure.
situation where it happens most often.
Is there, just one other question, the co-ops and the shared teams that we have, this wouldn't come up with any of those teams, most likely, or? is
Most
there a-
likely not.
Yeah,
Most
because
likely
it's still
not.
it wouldn't be parents from another school driving our
Right,
kids or anything. Yeah.
right, yeah.
Sorry, I just
And that's something,
had to
but
get
that's
that out of
something
my
to
head,
be
yeah.
aware of as we're doing this, thinking that, okay, that might happen sometime, and then we'd have to, you know, address that. And then, you know, with some of the co-ops, a lot of times it's the coach driving a school van over.
And that's still gonna be okay, right?
That's okay, because that's school transportation.
No, but I
The
mean, like,
insurance
it's
covers
still
that.
okay if they sign this and then the coach or the teacher
Oh,
drives
sure.
their own, but as long as they get it signed, it's still
Yeah.
okay. I just was wondering if it's gonna inhibit transportation.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Hopefully not, hopefully not.
Okay. On that note, just checking in. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Aye. And next, we have consideration to approve the Millis Youth Baseball Association request for reduction of fees, because I think I skipped that
Is
one.
that basketball?
Is that basketball?
It's
Oh, it is
basketball.
basketball. I don't know what. Baseball.
Yeah. I don't even know if I had that in my memo, but yeah, the basketball is starting up again, and once again, they're seeking a reduction of fees, 50%. It helps them keep their registration costs low. It's Millis kids. They work very well with us, and they understand completely that a school event trumps their, you know, practice, and I think it's been a win-win, because those are our feeder programs in the middle and high school. So anytime we can support them, we like to do that. And and I think they've only requested up until December or something. They haven't requested the whole year yet, but I think Ann included the what the financial impact was for the whole of last year, just for comparison.
And it looks like the cost per hour to us is $14 an hour, so it still covers our
Right.
facility costs.
Right, yes. And you know, our custodians would be here anyhow.
Right. Mhm.
So,
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the committee reduce the hourly rate for gym space from $30 to $15 per hour for the 2026-2027 season for MYBA.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all, yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I have a spreadsheet of all the different times that we've done this, and this is like something that has been done in the past, and this is not like out of left field.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion carries. Okay, now I think we're down to the consideration to approve the IRS mileage reimbursement rate at 76 cents per mile.
this is just reimbursement for when staff travel on school business. And it's the practice we've followed for as long as I've been here. This is just, you know, codifying it, getting the committee's approval.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move the committee adopt the IRS standard rate for mileage reimbursement of 76 cents per mile from July 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Consideration to, we did the school handbooks. Consideration to approve the employee handbook for the 26-27 school year.
This is something we've been working on for a while, and I included the draft in your packet, and it's been reviewed by our administrative staff. It was provided to the Millis Teachers Association. We've had appropriate sections that deal with legal, when we had legal questions, or we ran that by council. And it's something that just kind of outlines expectations for staff, provides resources for them, and it is not in place of any collective bargaining agreement we have. So, you know, there are areas that the CBA would have more detail than the employee handbook. The employee handbook is kind of the general expectations of staff, but it also includes the last few pages, just all different resources for staff.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that the committee approve the Millis Public Schools employee handbook as presented.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I'll just, I know this was a a lot of work went into this, and it's a nice thing to have put together. So I'm
Yes,
glad
at least they have it done.
Yeah, yep. So I appreciate that you did that we got it done.
Now, as far as the drug and alcohol policy under 9.5 annual staff training,
Mm-hmm.
that is on, when I click on that, it brings me
Oh,
to
to a very
the
old district policy. Yeah,
transportation.
right, because they're the ones who have to sign off on that particular policy. So by signing off, there's a more general one in the handbook itself.
Okay, so it might just maybe.
So that, right, that link is specific to if you're a transportation employee.
Okay.
There's two different drug and alcohol policy sections that both link to the same document. So under 9.1, the last policy is drug and alcohol policy. And then the one you just mentioned.
Yeah, I feel like something is.
Right?
Let me open this again.
Maybe I'm off. Yeah, under 9.5, there's on the second page of them, there's the drug and alcohol policy, and then above that, under 9.1, right at the bottom of the 9.1, is the same. They link to the same. So it's the same policy twice. Is that?
So
Oh,
let's see,
so-
so 9 point,
Yeah, they both link to the transportation.
okay, so. Okay, so they both link to the 4.23.0?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so we can adjust that.
Do you
So
see-
it's 9.1 and 9.3, is that it?
9 the last one in 9.1, the 9.1 policies,
Yeah,
and then 9.5,
Yes.
okay,
Third
the
from the
annual
last.
staff training,
the annual staff training.
okay.
Because 9.1 is not meant for transportation, correct? That's just the
Right, that's the
typical
general,
general.
and the 9.5, right, so, let's see. Okay, yeah, so those resources, we only have a policy for drivers. For just general, if you go to 4.10,
There it is.
that's the general policy. So, and that 9.1 policy and the other policy, that's going to get updated when we do the MASC, I'm sure, because that's an old policy. And we do have our transportation follows the current policy, it's just our policy book hasn't caught up with that yet.
So is it the link in the folder missing that section? 4.410? It just says tobacco-free environment in the.
Okay, so, is that the PDF?
This is the PDF.
Yeah.
But if I click on the link in your memo, that has 4.10.
Yeah, because that 4.10 was updated based on the a question from one of the committee members. So the PDF was made before the update was made. So we can put the current, we can change the PDF to the more recent version.
I believe we had it moved and seconded
Is that
and
where
moved to
we were?
discussion.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I just have one question. There's nothing in here about like grading or when grades need to be, their grade book
Yeah,
needs to be updated.
this is for like all employees, the general thing. So the grading would be school specific.
Like the school handbook would have that information, right?
Right.
But like when the employee needs to have their grades in, like, do they need to update the grade book every 2 weeks? Is it expected that they have it? Like, is there an expectation about how frequent they update power?
Yeah, I think that's in the CBA.
Contract, yeah, that's what I was-
Okay.
So, again, that's one of those issues that's specific, like, the employee handbook is general, and then the CBAs are more specific. So I'm pretty sure that, and I can check that.
Okay. My district just has a handbook for the high school, and those things are called out in it. That's why
Yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Can we,
Can I-
go ahead.
I was going to ask another question. I'm still, I'm looking because maybe it's there and I don't see it, but I remember when part of when this idea of an employee handbook came up was around communication from school accounts versus non-school accounts.
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah. So we have that in the athletic handbook.
That's, I mean, I think that, yeah, I don't know that there's anything that we need to change.
Yeah,
I know that was part of what led to the part of the discussion. Of
Right,
coming
yeah.
up with
So
the
that,
handbook,
it's,
right?
it's definitely in the athletic handbook, and
There's like a social media section.
and when teachers communicate with kids, they're using their school email.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel like is it under use of school resource? No, maybe. I feel like I remember reading it. If there's no more questions, can we go back to that motion and say it's the file that's in Bob's agenda, that's linked to from the agenda, because the one in the folder is outdated, correct?
Right.
Right?
Right, so I will amend my motion to approve the employee handbook, except the PDF in the memo instead of the attachment provided is the updated policy.
Right, and that's the August 26th version.
Okay, the August 26th, okay.
Thank you.
Somebody second my
Second, I
amendment.
don't know if
Yeah.
you're seconding it.
Sure. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. This is great. Thank
And
you
I'd
for
like
all
to
your work.
thank
Yeah, thank
all the committee for all your reading for this stuff we just did. I really appreciate you reading it and, you know, commenting, and your questions have been great. It's good to get some of this stuff through.
Thank you for your work on it. Okay, so consideration to approve the school committee meeting dates for the 26-27 school year.
So I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a planner and would rather have it locked in for the school year
sure.
rather than do 6 months at a time. And we can modify it as needed down the road. So, Madam Chair,
Mr. Underhill?
I move that we approve the school committee meeting dates for the 26-27 school year as presented.
Second. The motion has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion carries. Let's see, we did the 1.0 paraprofessional, and we are down to the chair report, I believe.
Okay.
MSBA.
I think we missed the townwide field operations.
Oh, did I?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't miss out either.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's right up the
Yes.
alley. I'm worried about the time commitment for it. Like, do we know what days the committee's meeting? 'Cause I don't want to commit to something and then have, between my class, school committee, Boy Scouts, you know.
Yeah, let me just see, I know Mike Kaczynski sent something out.
Or if it's on Zoom during the day, that's even better, but like the timing's the hard
Yeah.
part.
We can also like get more information and do it at the next meeting too.
Yeah, so, okay, so Mike outlined the, yeah, his email didn't have, like, it just had a time, a date and time for the first meeting. And he was looking at, he was looking at Monday, September 21st for the first meeting from 2:30 to 4:30. And that would be in person.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't necessarily need someone for that first meeting.
Yeah,
so
but
maybe
if
I
that's
can
just
come
gonna, if it's
back.
gonna be like a 2:30 to 4:30 in person, I'm not gonna, like, if
Yeah.
it's in the evening or on the day during Zoom,
So
I can work that
find
out,
when
but,
we have that meeting.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Yeah.
lot, right, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that they want on this. So my sense is that it probably will become like a Zoom meeting.
I can attend that first one
Okay.
Oh,
with
thank you.
you
Right.
because I'm available on the 21st. You said at 2:30?
Right,
If you would-
2:30 to 4:30 in room 130 at the Veterans Building.
Okay.
130, that's the one downstairs.
I'll just confirm with my husband that he will be home, but he's usually working from home on Mondays.
and then after that meeting, perhaps we can revisit who we want to appoint as the permanent member.
Yeah, because there's 14 people.
That's a lot of cats to herd to
Right,
get.
exactly, exactly.
We were first on the list, right?
Of course.
Okay, so do we want to hold off on this one, circle
That
back?
makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And now we can get to the chair report,
Okay.
MSBA update.
So, yeah, so we got some good news last week at the school building meeting and the working group meeting. Because of some savings in mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, the cost estimate from Fontaine came in at $1 million less than what the town has provided. For example, the original design had more toilets than Fenway Park at the gym. And we were able to get, and that was to code, but we were able to get a code variance, so that saved a lot of money. So anyhow, so the $1 million is great news. There are still things that can happen with this project, and I'm sure Peter can speak to this much better than I can, that can crop up that that can fluctuate, but they were pretty pleased, and so we started looking at some ways that we might be able to get some things from our wish list on there. One of the things we've talked about is having standard flooring. And so it looks like that's something that we'll be able to do. There's also, a concern about, the tariffs that have just gone up, that's going to have an impact. So all those things play into it. But it was generally very good news, and I think our OPM, Vertex, and Tape and Fontaine Brothers have been doing a great job working together on this. And then second thing that's, they're kind of refining the phasing of the project and really starting to get down to details. And one of the things that became apparent with the phasing was Fontaine, the way the building addition is set up, it's going to move the backstop of the baseball field in pretty significantly. But Fontaine wants to be able to drive construction vehicles around the building on that corner. And so they'd have to temporarily move the backstop in even more. And they said it costs like $45,000 to $50,000 to move the backstop. And then when they're all done, they'd just take the backstop down and put up a new backstop, and we'd have $45,000 for a temporary backstop that we never use again. And so the committee started talking about alternatives, and one of the alternatives that looks like it could be our best option is fixing up the town field for baseball this year, and putting money into that. And some of the early estimates we have are about $80,000 to $85,000 to fix that field up so that it's playable for a high school game.
So we're not talking the Millis Youth Baseball, Little League baseball
Correct.
field.
It's-
There's then Sisto, which is closest to the basketball courts.
Right, and then adjacent to Sisto, you can't tell.
It's grass.
If you look, it's grass, but there's a baseball field
Yeah.
under there. And, in the not too distant past, it was a usable baseball field. If you want to see, I have a picture in my office, an overhead picture of the campus from 6 years ago, and the field was playable. So getting that field back into shape so that we can have varsity baseball games in that field away from the construction zone. We can do some things to, add a home run fence that's temporary, can be moved. It's going to create some logistical issues, with softball. We won't be able to have varsity baseball and a varsity softball game together because the left fielder for softball would be looking at the right fielder from baseball. But much easier scheduling problem, scheduling logistics than trying to get a diamond in another town.
The fence won't interfere, the softball fence won't interfere with the baseball fence?
So we'd have to do something where we pull back the softball fence, kind of like curl it around when there's a baseball game, and then curl around the baseball fence when there's a softball game. But there are fences that you don't drill into the ground.
Yeah.
There's some temporary fencing like that we can buy to make both fields have a home run fence while for their games. And then we've also looked at portable scoreboard that we could bring out to the baseball field. And then when the project is done, because it's $80,000 to $85,000, but at the end we have something. The town has a nice field. We'd have the home run fencing could be repurposed, and the scoreboard, the ones I looked at online, they can do baseball, they can do football, they can do soccer. They're very adaptable. So that's kind of what the school building committee is looking at now.
So would it be town-operated field after this?
Right,
Where
yeah.
like Little Leagues would use it, or would like the JV team use it next year and the varsity team use the?
Yeah, I
varsity
think
team?
ideally what would happen is we'd have two fields, ideally we'll have a bigger baseball program where we have a varsity and a JV. And this is what we used to do. We used to have varsity play on that field, JV play on this field. And we'd go back to that. And in addition to having JV out there, you could have Babe Ruth and things like that. And you know, we could have Babe Ruth at both. So, you know, it would really be a benefit because right now it's grass. And grass is nice, but this baseball field isn't there.
So I know for our next MSBA meeting, we're going to be getting an update, more information on this. Have you received any information on, in the meantime, like feedback from Chris Fogarty? Like what?
Yeah, I know
since
that.
this is the town fields?
I know that, yeah, the town is aware. I haven't spoken to Chris, so I don't know. But I do know that the youth baseball is all for fixing up another field.
Sure. Can I ask a question? About what you found out there, and facilities. What about parking their construction vehicles where the bonfire is? Or something?
Well, all that, it's gonna be,
That's already on.
yeah, that there's gonna be a big fence and a lot of the parking in the parking lot is, yeah.
So they're gonna have space.
So
It's unavoidable, basically.
yeah.
I figured.
They have to have, they call it lay down space where they put their materials and all that stuff. And yeah, in my town, they're doing the high school, and I was up there the other day. They're building a brand-new high school, and I just couldn't believe how much space it takes up.
So right now, I know obviously we're looking at this townwide fields operation maintenance task force to explore the town taking over the care of the school grounds, including the fields, the athletic fields. Now, if it ends up moving forward with this new Major League diamond at the town park, we would be, the school district would be paying for that, but what about maintenance going forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. What we used to do, when, like the JV played out there, the school would pay some of the maintenance, kind of proportionate to how much we use the field, and the town would pay some.
Because I know with the softball fields being impacted, Millis girls softball pays for the maintenance of the JV varsity and instructional field, which is the one closest to the entrance of Clyde Brown. So I just want to, you know, understand as we're moving along the town's responsibility for this new, or bringing it back, Major League field, because I know Millis Youth Baseball, I believe, do they take care of paying for the minors field in Sisto?
I think so, yeah, that doesn't come from the school.
So I wonder, because I know Millis Girls Softball, Millis Youth Baseball have agreements with the town to use those fields and the care, but I want, you know, who will take care of the future maintenance of this field, because the high school use is one season, where I also know there's summer baseball for the younger kids, there's fall ball for the younger kids. How payment for that will take place, you know, because
Yeah.
ongoing,
I think
these
that's a
fields
good-
outgrow over so quickly, and
Yeah, I think, and that's a good thing for the September 21st meeting
Yes.
to bring that up, because that's a big part of all this.
yes.
Yeah.
We definitely need to have more conversations, and if I could ask of the committee before this meeting on the 21st, send me, and 21st?
21st.
21st of September.
Oh, our 21st meeting?
No,
it's
No, the task force,
Task force.
Fields
Oh,
task.
If you guys can send me any thoughts you may have before I go, if you can send that to me and Bob, just so that I could provide, any feedback that, because I'd like to bring some questions to this task force.
About the field.
About the fields. So if the committee can do that.
And then the 23rd, we have a FBC meeting, so we can ask more questions about that.
And I'm wondering if representatives will, from the task force, attend to provide more information to the rest of the members. Okay. All right. Now, does anyone have any other comments about that?
No.
All right, we can move on to the superintendent report.
Okay, and a few things. The Department of Labor Standards, you may recall last February, we received a citation from them, and it had some areas of where corrective action was needed, and I'm happy to report that corrective action was taken. It was approved by the DLS, and they issued us a closeout letter. So that's good news. And I think, John Engler and his staff did a lot of work to take care of those issues. And so I'd like to thank him for that.
That's great.
And since I'm on the subject of thank yous, I'd like to thank all the staff who are working throughout the buildings in the summer. People doing a lot of work to make sure everything's ready for tomorrow. And the staff that worked at the extended school year and transportation who worked all summer, they really did a really nice job and a lot of work.
That's great. Thank you.
And then just recently, U.S. News and World Reports came out with their best high schools in America, and once again, Millis High was ranked. They were ranked 1,665th out of almost 18,000 schools. So that got us into the top 10 there, and we were 76th out of 408 high schools in Massachusetts ranked. So we were in the top 20% there. And what they look at is performance on MCAS in Massachusetts, our state assessment, performance of high-need students on state assessments, graduation rates, college readiness, which they base on performance of our kids in AP exams, and college curriculum breadth, the participation of our kids in AP courses. So I'd like to congratulate the high school on that. And again, it's the high school that gets the ranking, but it's the middle school and the elementary school that prepare the kids to perform on these things. And it is based on kids' performance.
Do you know if that 76 out of 408 is that up or down for us?
That's actually down from last year. Last year we were in the 40s, so it ebbs and flows. And I also, we don't have the resources
Right.
we did a couple years ago,
Yes.
and so our teachers do an outstanding job, and our kids work hard. We don't have the resources we had 20 years ago, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm making excuses, but you see things like
You do.
this.
Yep.
That was a clearly foreseen
Yes.
consequence of that vote.
Yes.
And then I just have a list of the new hires so far, and I think since I wrote this, we have all positions filled. We're starting tomorrow with all hands on deck, which is good.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Is that including the para that we authorized earlier?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it also includes a transportation coordinator. Her
Perfect
first day was
timing.
yesterday, so it's good to have that. And speaking of transportation, I'd really like to thank Shalene Volpe and Lisa Rogers and Jane Leota for all their work, keeping it going this summer, getting the kids to where they needed to be, and all their work getting us ready for tomorrow. My fingers are crossed that the buses get all our kids tomorrow and bring them in. That's, one of the reasons why I can't wait to get started, just to make sure you know, our system's gonna work.
Yes.
It's just having seen the bus list come out today, which was great. Did we change to color coding our buses instead of numbers?
They have both
Okay, I couldn't.
numbers and color, and
Started
like
last
Clyde Brown
Only
likes
because
the
I
colors.
remembered that from last year. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
when I saw the colors.
Clyde Brown likes the colors. The middle high school and the software likes the number, like the routing software likes the numbers. So we're working with that. And like, you know, we had some things happen last year that tested our system that, you know, we want to make sure we're updating our lists and things like that, things that we have, you know, in our mind as we're going through beginning of transportation. Because there will be some changes and adjustments. We just want to make sure we document that.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Now we can move on to correspondence. I know I don't have any, but Bob, do you?
Yeah, so we just got something this morning from Attorney William Shinoff of the Franz Law Group, and you might remember we were part of a class action suit against Juul, the vaping company, and this is the law firm that handled that. And we received about $8,000, the district received about $8,000 to help us with programs to hopefully limit or eliminate, but I'll say limit, vaping. And so there's, you know, and Jamie mentioned it earlier, these lawsuits against some of the social network, social media companies for targeting students. And they sent out something today asking districts if they'd like to join. So I can have some more information on that for our next meeting to discuss. It's one of those situations, just like when we did the Juul, they take it on a contingency fee. Like if they win, they get a portion of the judgment. If they don't win, they don't get anything. So it doesn't cost the district anything. So I'll get more information for that meeting, but I just got the email today, so I thought I'd just put it on your radar.
Thank you. Okay, and I do not have any school committee, oh, I guess I can do the, I don't have any old business or new business. Our next meeting is going to be the 15th at 7:30.
Yeah, and
Yes.
school tour.
Yes, so for members of the public too, or just the, yes,
The public
yes.
wanted to
If
come,
you-
we could invite them.
We want to do a tour of the buildings before our next meeting. Now, we can either start the meeting at 7:30 and do it then, or we can do the tour at 7 and then come in for the meeting if it works for people's schedules.
Yeah, I think we did that last year. We did the tour at 7 beforehand, and that worked out pretty well.
So do we want to meet here in the library?
I think last time we met at like Clyde Brown and then we like wandered and then ended up here.
So for anyone who's listening out there, if you'd like to join us for that tour, you can meet us over in the Clyde Brown.
Yeah, and I think, did we meet at the back door of Clyde Brown?
Or was
So
it
that-
this one here? Right?
Yeah, so you could park where you normally park for when you get out.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
okay.
went up through the 5th grade wing.
So, yeah, so the
Yes.
door by the playground, by the
Yes.
5th grade wing of the hill there. We
So-
could start there at 7.
Okay.
That's the one facing the tennis court?
Correct.
Yes.
So for anyone who's listening, we changed the location to the door closest to the tennis courts for the 5th grade wing. And that will be at 7 p.m. And then we will come back here for our meeting after. All right. I will take a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Not too bad for how long that was.